We are Spud and Joey. We are best friends, dads, and realtors. We also head up a running tribe here in Salt Lake City called Run with Mojo. On the weekends, we love exploring new trails and neighborhoods together. We aren't the fastest or the most skilled runners in the world. We're just two slightly out of shape dads that love a good trail run. We love running as much for the opportunity to clear our minds and have a good laugh as we do for the run itself. As runners, we know how mundane running on a treadmill can be. That's why we created the Come Run With Us project. So the next time you're on a treadmill, you'll have a cool trail to explore and a couple of buddies to run with. No matter what time of day or where you are in the world, you can always come run with us.
Welcome to the Come Run With Us project. I have got the coolest, most exciting news today. So, first of all, running the Provo River Trail. So not going that way, going a completely different way. But this is the surprise. This is Brenner.
Hello.
So funny story. Joey's not here today. So yeah, you have to deal with me, and you have to deal with Brenner. So
yep.
Brenner is my nephew. We're gonna be running this Provo River Trail today, and we're actually the last episode you got was basically a follow-up of the Jackpot Ultra. So I figured what better than to bring Brenner that also did the Jackpot Ultra, which I'm gonna lock my car. I think I forgot to lock my car.
Good idea.
Oh, okay. Yep, we're good. I think Brenner's gonna have to learn that this is not as dialed in. Actually, one thing I really wanted to say to you is that, about you, was he's a long-time listener, first-time runner.
Yeah.
Because there's this, you're probably too young to know this, but there's this radio show where people would call in and they'd say, long-time listener, first-time caller.
Oh, right.
And so it's like, I can say Brenner is a long-time listener, first-time runner, and it, for some reason, made me...
It works,
It made me really, really happy. Anyway, look at this, this epic... So we've been running this trail. So me and Brenner actually started running this to train for the Jackpot for you just hold that for 2 seconds for me. I'm going to try my hardest to make the video not suck, since Joey's not here, and I hear that, I suck at video. Actually, he says I'm getting better.
We'll prove him wrong.
But I'm definitely not letting Brenner hold this thing, because then if he's really good at it, he'll take my job.
Yeah, we'll see.
So, Jackpot Ultra, last you saw, I was at 78 miles, and by saw, you were we were sitting there. Joey'd quit. He was out. So Brenner, where were you do you remember where you were during that episode?
I can't remember exactly what time of day that was. It was what was it, 11, 12?
No. It had to have been way early, 8 or 9 in the morning.
Oh, so it was start. Okay. So, I started at 8.
Been, a good point. It could have been...
I think it was 10.
Yeah, I think you were a little more fresh. More fresh than
I was definitely pretty fresh. So I started at 8 a.m. And
give the people, what did you see at 8 a.m. from your uncle, Spud?
So I get there, and once I find him, he's dying. I think you were still at a super low point at that time.
It was a low point.
You wanted to leave pretty bad, I think.
So the funny thing is, all I remember about you getting there, other than being super amped, was, and we should try to find this picture and show this picture, but I got over to the start line because Brenner was about to start, and which is funny because in the episode, I was pretty, I was telling people how excited I was that I got to that starting line. But I laid on the concrete Oh man, I laid on that concrete, put my feet up on this like flower bed thing, and Brenner took my picture.
Yeah.
And I was like, Brenner, and I was trying so hard because, you know, you're just starting. So I didn't want to like,
Yeah.
I didn't want to like, you know, I didn't want you to be all like starting out in like a negative headspace.
I wasn't. I was trying to bring you up.
Well, man, you getting there. Okay, sorry, I interrupted your story. So while we're doing the episode, you are probably like 2 hours in.
Yeah, so with like my pace and everything, I think I was probably maybe like 8 miles in or something. I was going pretty slow. 8 to 10 miles in.
Well, yeah, but give the people like a background of your running ability real fast, because in all reality,
it's
like
a pretty basic amount of running ability. Before the race, well, that was like the last weekend of February, right?
Yeah.
Before the race, we had maybe been running together for like 3 weeks.
Yeah.
2 weeks max. So I think I had gone on like maybe 7 or 8 actual runs that weren't just like a mile on a treadmill.
That's why you can't just be like, oh, I was 2 hours in, I was running slow. You signed up for a 12 hour, so you got to give yourself a lot of grace about that and just how amazing that is.
Right. And so yeah, you know, first race I've ever done, first ultra, first everything. And by the time they were doing the episode, I was feeling pretty good, but I was definitely starting to feel like, holy crap, I still have like 10 more hours. But thankfully, I feel like that those feelings would only come around every once in a while, where it was like, oh my gosh, I have so much more time left to keep going.
Well, yeah, because for you, I mean, what do you think the longest run at that point was?
Probably a time where we came
Here?
to this trail at like 5 instead of 5:30.
Yeah.
And we did like 7.25 or something, or 6.5 miles, and that was like the
and then
longest.
I got him to sign up for the Jackpot Ultra.
Yeah, it's true. And I opted for the 12 hour. I'm not sure why, but I was like, oh, I can't do this 6 hour.
Well, I think I might have told you that the 12 hour started at a better time, when in all reality I didn't know or understand. And then I figured out the 12 hour when I got there, that there was like 3 or 4 starts to the 12 hour.
Yeah.
And I was like, man, I really hope Brenner's actually signed up for the right 12 hour.
Yeah, I made sure that it was the right one.
I think I actually texted you at some point, was like, are you sure you start at like the time we think?
Yeah, I was about 90% sure. Their website was a little confusing.
Yeah.
Should we start running?
Sure.
Okay.
It's up to you, man. It's up to you. It just means the camera work's gonna get a little worse.
Right.
So.
Hey, that's okay. So
And this trail gets really dark at times, so we apologize for that.
It's a listening episode.
But also, I love this trail more than anything, so I'm really excited to show people. I'm really excited to do this. But
yeah, I mean,
anyway, you continue on. I need your journey.
Okay.
Because the funny thing about this is that I was so pumped when you got there at 8 a.m. And I've not, me and Brenner have actually talked a lot since the ultra, but I've not really talked to him about like his experience, which I'm glad.
Yeah.
Because now we get to go over it.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we're doing the episode. You passed us. You saw yourself on the video.
Yep.
You were, how many miles did you say?
I think I was probably like 8 miles in, maybe.
8 miles deep. Okay.
Yeah, probably around there.
Kind of starting to question the whole,
yeah, like, whoa.
This is some time on my feet.
Yeah, so, yeah, so after we started together at 8, I just, like, we walked for a little while, and then we separated. So I think that was like...
Yeah, because you wanted to go faster than...
Yeah, because I had that, like, start of the race energy, and I was, like, ready to bolt.
You weren't as excited about those 30 to 40 minute miles as I was.
Yeah. So I think even up till it was way after the episode till we met again.
Yeah. Yeah. It really was.
And
well, and I think if people followed on Instagram, I posted some stuff of me and Brenner
yeah,
at night. That was like when you were way deep into it.
Yeah,
So I really have no idea where you were from probably 8:30. What do you think? Like maybe 1 or 2 in the afternoon?
Oh yeah. It was easily, before we started like coming back together, it was probably the hottest part of the day.
Yeah.
Around 2 o'clock.
Probably afternoon. I feel like your brain was a lot fresher that day than mine.
That
So
makes sense.
I love this.
Right.
Because to me, it's all just a blur.
Yeah, at that point you were up at like 26, 28 hours.
Yeah. What was your, during that morning, what was your favorite part?
So in the morning, my favorite part was seeing how stacked the food was.
Yes.
Like, I was like, oh man, I'm not gonna need to get any sort of food from anywhere else. I can just,
Yeah.
you know, and I was pretty excited because I was hungry. And so that was the first thing I noticed. And then like, you could just tell the energy, the vibes, they were all there. Like everybody was so excited and so nice, you know?
Yeah.
And so that's probably the first thing that struck me that like was kind of surprising, I guess.
Yeah.
Was that you know, it was just, I know everybody had said that everybody's so nice
Wow.
in the ultra community.
Well, let's admit, like everybody
Yeah.
was me.
Well, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, you better not be talking to other people about running. But
No.
good.
No, I promise. Only my personal trainer.
Yeah, good.
But yeah, that's probably the first thing that struck me. And then after that, it was just like, I don't know, it was weird because like time would fly by for a certain extent of time, and then it would drag for hours, you know?
Yeah.
And so after you guys were done,
Let's jog.
yeah, after you guys were done with the episode, let's see, I think it was, I didn't take a break till probably 3 or 4,
Okay.
where I actually stopped and sat down. And that was like the first time where I was like, okay, I'm starting to hurt. And that was at 14 miles.
Which was the furthest you'd ever ran.
Yeah.
Which I know I said this way too much, but I was always like, every time,
Yeah.
I was like, well, this is the furthest you've ever ran,
Yep.
ever.
Yep.
Because every mile was just the furthest you'd ever ran after what, like 6 or 7, right?
Yeah.
Cool.
So yeah, that was definitely the fun part, is telling people.
You need to
Yeah.
run in front of me while I'm
Okay.
doing this so it doesn't look so poopy.
So yeah, that
Probably
was
still looks
definitely
poopy. Sorry, people.
the funnest part, was being able to tell people that, you know, once I hit that like 7.5 mile mark, that it was my furthest run ever, you know?
So when you say you took a break, what was your break? Like, did you actually sit down?
Yeah, so I sat down and stretched. I was having a lot of pain in my, the back of my knee.
Back of the knee pain.
Yeah, so I sat down, got some stretching in, got some water, talked to the family. So yeah, and I probably took about 10 minutes probably, just to sit down.
Was that when I was like changing my socks and shoes and laying in the tent and dying, or?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you were dead at that point.
I remember that. That was brutal.
Yeah, it seemed like you were pretty miserable.
Yeah.
And to be fair, so was I, to a certain extent. But that
I'm
was
excited for your version of me later.
Oh man, yeah, that was crazy.
You got to keep your journey going.
After I took my break, that was like the first time I experienced anything remotely like a real second wind.
Ooh,
you know?
I love that.
And that was a crazy experience.
How many miles?
So that was probably about 16 in when I was like, oh man, I'm actually like putting down the miles.
You got legs again?
You know?
You felt good again?
Yeah, and
cool.
So yeah, I started putting down the miles again, and up until like 22, I don't remember much of anything other than just like killing it.
That's cool.
And it was awesome. You know, it was just one of those moments where you just have like pure bliss because you're doing so well, you know?
Yeah.
And
that's cool.
So yeah, it was a really good moment for me. I can't remember if we were running together at any point during that.
We weren't.
I don't think so. Yeah.
100%. I could have used that energy, and I did not get that. Nope.
And
it's probably when I started running with Thomas, my little
yeah.
buddy that I will forever be grateful till the day I die, because he was just like
your savior.
The second one. David was the first one.
Right, David.
He was my porta potty friend from Chicago. Yeah, see, Brenner knows because he was listening.
I listened. Yeah.
So you get to that like second one. You get to that like that point. When's your next Because I know that it's basically just a matter of I always say it's you ride the highs.
Yep.
And just got to get through the lows. So when was your next low? Like, what mile do you remember being like, oh?
Oh, it was directly after 22. So that's like, that low was pretty short-lived though, because I think I went from like 22 to 24. It's like one lap. And I was like, oh my gosh, I am so wrecked. I'm so tired. But I just powered through. I ate, even though I felt like I was gonna throw up and die because I was so full, and I was getting so sick of gels and goos.
Oh yeah, this was your first experience with goo.
Yeah, no, that's probably the other thing that was kind of crazy, is most people will see how different foods affect them while they're running. I'm just like, yeah, I'll eat that.
Well, yeah, because that's the craziest thing about you is you really didn't have the opportunity that like most normal humans that go on an ultra, they go out and they're like, oh hey, I'm gonna like test the waters, and like Brenner, and I mentioned this in one of the episodes, how Brenner bought shoes like 4 days before, which I would never advise, but
it was like a week before. I ran 2.5 miles in them. I was like, all right, let's go.
Gotta do something.
Let's go to the ultra with them.
But again, I'm just so insanely impressed. Anyway, keep going.
So 22 miles, I hit that low, and it probably lasted about as long as it's one lap, like 2.3.
Isn't it funny how you can it's almost like these weird increments where the world now in your ultra only revolve around laps.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
When you're in that moment, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And how many hours were you at that lap?
Probably about 6 or 7. And I think that's what started my low. Yeah. Was seeing the 6-hour people leave. I was like, are you kidding me?
I forgot about that. The 8-hour start was like,
or 8 a.m. start.
8 a.m. start was crazy. I forgot about that. Like for me, there was so little people on the trail.
Right.
All night. And then at like 6, people started coming out of their tents and waking up and stuff.
Yep.
But man, that 8 a.m. start, I forgot about that.
Yep. It was so
the 6-hour people leave.
Yeah, so the 6-hour people, I'm crossing the finish line with them, and they're just like, yes, let's go, and I'm like, oh, I should have signed up for the 6-hour. Because at that point I was like so tired.
And that was 24 miles deep?
It was like 20 to 22.
Oh, okay. At the 6-hour.
Yeah. And so I was struggling for the next lap or so. And then once I got to like 24, I was like, wow, I'm about to hit marathon distance, you know?
Marathon, man.
I'm about to,
So cool.
and then after that, I'm like an official ultra marathon runner.
Yeah, once you get
know?
26.6,
Yeah.
26.25.
Yeah. And so that amped me up.
Yeah,
I was so ready to be able to say that I could do it and that I did it, you know?
I love that.
And so I just started killing it. I was like, oh man, I feel good, you know?
Yeah.
And that was like probably the most intense, what you would call like runner's high I've ever had.
Ooh.
Was right when I was hitting that 26 miles. And I was like, oh man, you know, I only have 0.2 miles, you know?
What's funny is I do think I remember seeing you.
Yeah, you saw me right before.
Yeah, because I remember you looking so fresh
Yeah.
and so strong.
Yep.
And this is, the crazy thing about this is that this whole time I've been in the pain cave.
Yep.
And I've been like dying.
Yep.
So I remember seeing you at that moment being like, oh man, it's so bad. But also I'm so tired. I'm just gonna keep one foot in front of the other.
Yep. And
So how long did that high last?
Probably till about 28 or 29. And then I was just like, no, it was probably 28. And I was like, okay, I'm slowing down here, you know? And my original goal was to hit the 50K, which is like 32?
Yeah, I think it's like 32.
32 miles, something like that. So I was like getting pretty close. And so I was starting to feel and get into a lull again. And thankfully, I feel like I got to 30 and that was a good feeling for me as well.
And first and foremost, I have to apologize to people for this video right now because it is the darkest
Yeah, it's very dark.
I think you will ever. So if you can't see Brenner at all, I'm sorry.
Just know I'm here. I'm running.
Seeing if I can make this any brighter. Yep, still.
I should have brought a flashlight too, but I was dumb.
Okay. You're what, 12 minutes late? No
Yeah.
flashlight, no
Yeah.
nothing. I brought the camera, the mic.
cameras, the microphones.
I like had to set it up.
Well, you know,
Had to get it ready last night.
it's like, you know, I've got guest privileges here.
You're the talent.
You're paying me good money to be here. I'll get you when I want.
Yeah, so if you have the opportunity, you may have to podcast this one. But,
Yeah.
So, at what point were we together? Like,
It was because we were together for like the last stretch, basically, for the last I want to say 3 hours.
yeah.
And
So
we were
that was
together
when
for a
you had
while.
to have been right after that marathon.
Yeah, that was right at the 29-ish.
Man, if I prepped
28.
stuff, or if I thought ahead, I would have went back,
Yeah.
watched the videos of you and I,
Yeah.
and would have maybe actually been like, oh yeah, and then at this time.
Yeah.
But hey, this is a project. You
Yeah,
know,
and
it's not perfect.
I feel fairly confident on my numbers here.
Nice.
So yeah, I think we got together around 28 miles, and you were trying to just get as many miles as quick of a mile as you could, and at that time it was pretty low. And I think I finally hit 31, and we were just jogging super slow.
Yeah, I do remember you and I were together when you got those 30s, because I was like,
Yeah.
oh, he's at the 30s.
And then this guy took a caffeine pill, and
I also did a call to arms on Instagram and
Yeah.
Facebook, and I feel like the amount of energy and the caffeine pill.
yeah, it was you started zooming. You were in so much pain before, but then after that you just started killing it. And this was when I first started to be okay, I am severely damaged. I cannot keep going at the run jog pace, or sorry, the jog walk pace. because at that point I was just like, everything below my waist was just like rock solid.
Yeah, that
Sounds
did
bad,
that
but
sound creepy. No,
that
it did.
did.
I
Yeah,
like how
I
you,
was like,
I like how you
paused,
caught it though,
and I was
we're
like,
like, oh.
my legs were rock solid.
If you would have kept going, it
Yeah.
wouldn't have been as bad. But you
I
paused
stopped and I
so
was like-
hard.
Well, because I was like, how can I fix that? There was no way to fix that. My legs were completely rock solid. Because
Which I get that. Like,
Yeah.
it's so weird. And it's I love talking to you about this
Yeah.
because, like, it's so hard to explain to people.
Yeah.
And it's so hard to, like people just don't understand. It's like such a weird, it's a weird place where you're like, hey, legs, like, you should work.
Yeah.
And even after you sit down, lay down,
Yeah.
do everything you can imagine to, like
get your feet
take a
above your
break.
head. Yeah.
It just doesn't work.
No.
And your legs are like just, locked up,
Yeah.
solid.
Yep.
And so I was so thankful for that moment in time.
Yeah.
When it was like, because I thought I was going to be another 6 hours minimum. And this was just to get to 100. Like, this wasn't to get to anything.
You
know.
weren't going for your 150.
Yeah, I was, well, by that point, I had 100% thrown that towel in.
Yeah.
Oh, look, they're working on the bathroom. Okay, so quick, we're gonna just deviate from this story for a sec. So I took a video a few weeks ago of this exact little area. This is heated bathroom, 24/7, 365. So this trail, and then look over here. Like, what is this? What is this? As Joey would say, let's give the people what they want. This is the beautiful, beautiful trail. And I mean, it's not a trail, obviously it's water, but you know what I mean. So, like, I love this trail. Love this trail. I'm sorry it was so dark before, but this is good.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're in the pain cave.
Yeah.
You're at like what, 30?
31 and a half, probably 31 miles when you start to like, no, it was probably more than that. It was probably like 32 and a half when you like,
And I think
kicked
I
it
was at
into
like
gear.
90. I think I was right around 95.
Yeah, you
So
were like
Strava-
95.
So really one of the secrets as well was my Strava actually said 100 probably at that moment.
Yeah, well.
Or
yeah.
close to, right? I was
I
like
thought you
probably,
got to, you were like at 102 when you finished that night, and then you came back the next morning, I think.
no, I was at like 105, 106
Yeah,
on
yeah.
Strava. No, I was at 107 on Strava. And when
90.
the actual 100 hit. And so
Yeah.
for me, like, I think a lot of that energy also came from knowing physically I had done 100.
Yeah,
Even if the course didn't say it.
right.
There's the caffeine, I did the call to arms, everybody calls me. So you are, when did so that was obviously after you had finished, but so what was your ending like? Were we together?
No, so like when I was probably like 33 and a half miles in, you were just going like so much faster than I even thought possible.
Man,
for
this
myself.
is why I brought him here. This is good. Okay, keep going.
Right.
But
I'm gonna talk you up right
Yeah,
now.
deep dive into that a little more.
And,
So every time you saw me, it was like a bolt of light.
it was like that scene in that Marvel movie.
Oh
where,
my gosh,
you know,
Captain America. On your left.
on your left.
Oh, wow. I mean,
You know what I mean?
actually, let's be honest. If we're going to compare me, which this is probably just a light in your face right now, but if you're going to compare me to anything, it's Captain America.
Yeah.
Okay.
Exactly.
Okay, so you're how many hours in then? Like 11?
It was probably about 10 and a half or 11.
And you're at
hours.
34? 33?
Like 33
Okay.
and a half.
Okay.
And you were just killing it. I was trying to keep up, but I could like barely lift my feet off the ground.
Yeah,
I was just scraping.
I do remember you hurting so much.
By. Yeah. It was probably the most pain I've ever felt in my legs ever. And mentally I was just like, okay, I've had enough. This is like,
Well, because your original goal, like you just said, was 30.
yeah, like 30,
So
32.
you made your original goal
Yeah.
of over 30. You're at like 33.
Yeah.
So really,
And like 10 and a half hours in. So
Yeah.
I still got an hour and a half to go.
but you're a happy camper overall, other than
Right.
obviously the pain cave.
Yeah, I was like, okay, I'm like fine with stopping, but I have more time. So I might as well like try to get as much as I can.
Yeah.
And I had that mentality till like 11 hours in. So like half an hour.
Yeah.
And then I was like, I am probably at like hour laps right now. Hour loops.
Yeah. Which
is like 30 something minute miles.
Yeah. It's bad. Been there. I was there for 20 hours.
Yeah. I mean, this is all like
It's just
playground type stuff compared to yours, but
No, I'm not saying it that way. I'm saying like it's just like, man, right? Like that feeling.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, look at this cave. Like I just
yeah, it's fun. It's fun.
And by cave, not a cave, but
sorta.
Thank you.
I agree.
Thank you.
So yeah, and so at that point you were like Usain Bolt in it.
Yeah.
Probably at like a 15-minute mile pace.
Ooh, I like that. Definitely alive, but I like it. Don't go look at my Strava.
Yeah. And I was just walking.
So you're taking over an hour on each loop, which is just like...
It's just defeating.
It's defeating, but you're so far in, you're like, it doesn't matter. I'm just going to go to 12 hours.
Yep. And
so when did you hit the finish line for the last time?
Probably like 11 o'clock is when I like crossed the finish line for the last time.
I thought it was a 12-hour.
Well, no, that was 11 hours in.
Oh.
Because I stopped at, what time did I say?
11.
Oh, not 11 o'clock.
You mean 11 hours?
I meant 11 hours in, sorry.
You're fine. I kind of knew what you meant, but my brain's fried because it's 5 a.m. So
yeah,
I was like trying to imagine. So it's probably 7 p.m.
Yeah, 7.
You're 11 hours in. You're at 30,
like 33, 34 miles. Probably 34.
Okay.
And I don't remember if people remember how the loop goes. But
it doesn't matter. Yeah, we don't really do this for anybody else, but
right.
For documentation.
So in the loop that goes around and kind of touches the parking lot.
Yeah,
the porta potties.
Was that
around the tents?
The tents where we were staying?
Yeah.
Okay.
In that loop where
that little mini grass loop. I like to call that the mini grass loop.
That took me half an hour.
Oh.
And
the mini grass loop.
The mini grass loop. So like a quarter mile.
Yeah, if that. Okay.
Because I was literally just hobbling.
This makes me feel so good because that loop probably took me a half hour multiple times.
Right. Yeah.
So to hear it coming from somebody else, like, yes. See, it was hard.
It was, yeah. And the bad part, well, maybe not the bad part, but like going up to it and then to the corner of it, it was like all uphill and then you're downhill, but it's like steep enough downhill that it's kind of painful.
Yeah.
Anyways, after that took me half an hour, I was 11 and a half hours in and I was like, I hit 35 miles and I tapped out. That was it for me.
And you ended at 35 miles?
Yeah, 35 miles, yeah.
Oh man, it's next level.
Yeah.
It's so great though.
It was
I think
wild.
I remember seeing you later, at
the finish.
Well, yeah, but I feel like I saw you somewhere because that was at 8 o'clock and I...
Oh, yeah.
I didn't finish till 10.
Right. I was in the tent.
Yeah, and I was doing my last...
Yeah.
I think I was doing my last one to say, hey, I'm going to be at 100.
Yep.
But I think it was at 9. And you're like, oh, should we start going over that? I was like, well, no, I'm an hour away. It's still going to take me a bit. But not really. I think at that moment, I wasn't as... I was still doing
You're still doing good, yeah.
I remember... So yeah, to recap my end of the race, it's funny because Brenner's start end of his race really recaps my, I feel like for a good 10 hours, maybe only 8 of his race, I was just straight up, trying my hardest to walk, jog, but it was just miserable. And then I did the caffeine pill. I kind of called arms on Instagram, Facebook. I had just the amount of people that reached out and texted and called and Instagram messages, and like I felt more love in that moment than I think I've ever felt in my entire life, just because you're so like drained and dead, and like you just can barely function at that moment, but yet that gratitude just flowed through me. And hopefully you could see that. I don't know if you at the finish line could see that, but
yeah, no,
did you?
I feel like you could.
I remember hugging you so hard.
Yeah.
Being so grateful that I was there. I sprinted into the finish line.
Yeah.
Like,
we were a bad family. We like completely missed it. It was a great moment.
Oh, right. Everybody missed it. Wow.
But
I forgot about that. Yep.
Like the video, we didn't like get a good video.
Everybody was there, but not one
like,
person recorded me coming into the finish line.
It's a very memorable moment though. Like I hope you don't think that we'll forget about it.
Well,
because at least I won't.
I believe that because you're 22, and I know you'll remember. I won't, because I need a video.
Yeah.
So I'm glad you'll get it.
Yeah.
We have a video of me sprinting past she had to be like, you know, mid-50s, super amazing woman that I ended up running the last little bit with too. Her husband was recording, and I hit him up and I do have a video of me sprinting past her, you know, just making her look like a snail.
Yeah.
At the finish line. And she's so cute because she's like, oh, and she like picks up to go a little faster, which I thought was awesome. So we're like 30 something mile or 38 like minutes in. So we're probably going to want to turn around.
Okay.
I would love to continue to show people this trail, but I think if we turn around now, actually, you know what? No, let's just, because I feel like, okay, like Jackpot, did we wrap it? Did I wrap it up enough? I don't even know if you can see.
We got to the finish line.
Okay, so so I did the 100 miles, got done at 10. Brenner was there, got to say, love you. Everybody was calling, texting. It was the most beautiful thing in the world. And then I went and slept for 3 hours. Me and Katie ended up coming because she thought I was going to die earlier in the day. And she came, and it was the most magical, most romantic thing in the world. We got done, and we had a cot in our little tent. And I don't know if I've told you about the cot, but I laid on it, just the stinkiest human in the world. And it was just like, she just laid there next to me, and it was like she held me, like actually I don't even think she held me. I think I just laid there.
Right.
And I was like so happy that she was willing to like be there with me, and just I was in so much pain at that moment. And oh my gosh, every time me and Katie are hanging out, I'm always like, you wanna lay in the bed like it's the cot? Because for me, that was like the most romantic thing I've ever experienced, because she's just there with me. I am definitely smelling like garbage.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And yet she's just there. She said it was the most miserable like 3-4 hours, and I thought it was the most comfortable 3 hours ever. But yeah, so that was the best. And honestly, I'm gonna touch on it. We'll hurry and end this one because we got a little bit of light right here. Maybe we can see each other. I don't know. Let's see. So Brenner, thank you for coming on a run with us in real life. Thank you all for coming on a run. The next episode, I'll maybe do a little more follow-up. We'll see. And actually, I'll tell you guys why Joey's not here, because I don't think I ever went in depth with that. I just kind of...
No, we just kind of brushed it off and...
Yeah, it started talking.
Going.
So I'll keep y'all posted on that. So yeah, like, subscribe, do all the stuff. It's probably going to take me a minute to get this thing powered off, because as y'all know, Joey's the one that does it all, and I just...